Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and talk about some outdoorsy Victorinox tools and why I think this one I'm about to talk about is the perfect minimalist Victorinox outdoorsy tool. So to recap, about a couple weeks ago, I saw Max Level EDC and he was modifying the Leatherman curl. And what he basically was doing was he actually was adding a saw back into it, the multi-tool. And it got me thinking, for me, I personally never use a saw. But as I was watching the video, I was listening to the comments, I'm beginning to see the value of a saw. You need a saw if you're ever going outdoors, right? So I'm going to go over each of the Victorinox models really quickly and just save your time, but I'm also going to talk about why I think this is an awesome and unique multi-tool. Victorinox, and you can't get this. This is discontinued, but there are still some available. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about that some people say is really good for outdoorsy is the Victorinox Ranger. To me, this is a lot of stuff, like too much stuff. So the scissors are great. Then you've got your big knife, then you've got your saw, and then you got a big nail file, which I think takes up a lot of weight. And then you've got a flat driver, but then this is also a flat driver. And that's a flat driver so I just feel like there's a lot of duplication of tools here and a lot of weight. So it's like really heavy for no reason. The other one, which is a popular one, is the Huntsman. And I actually think this is a good deal for $33. You get the scissors, you get a saw, big knife and a small knife. I hate it when they kind of do this because I feel like it's just kind of like a waste of weight, but it is what it is. And then these two tools, which I honestly don't feel are as useful, but some people do. But it's like a can opener, and I can't remember the last time I actually used one. But anyway. And then the hook, which I think is the most useless tool to lot, though people will say it's useful. And then there's a corkscrew, which I don't really use, but it's really good for untying shoelaces and stuff. And then there's a reamer, right? So, but this is solid for $33. This is solid for $33. I'll put this on the side, and I would say you definitely should consider this if you're more of a maximalist, okay? But what I'm going to talk about is more for minimalists. The Fieldmaster is pretty much the same thing, except instead of a corkscrew, right, you're getting a screwdriver tip, which I think is actually probably more useful. The other thing on top, let's say you want to tone it down on the weight, because you want to get rid of some of the stuff, and that's what I personally want to do. Then you get the Victorinox Camper. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the Farmer X A-Locks. This is not what I'm going to talk about. This is not the Farmer X A-Locks. This is different from these two. These are really actually a good tool set in terms of it's very minimalist. It's giving you kind of exactly what you want. But the drawback of A-Locks is that it's heavier. And that's something I actually learned later on. These are much heavier, even though they seem like they have less tools. They are much heavier than these, or about just in terms of weight, they're around 3 ounces up to 4 ounces usually. They're pretty heavy. And what I'm talking about is an ounce. So this is the Victorinox Walker, and I'm going to go over the tool set of what this has. Basically, the first tool, number one, is you get the large knife. Tool number two is you've got the combination pry bar, or the combination screwdriver. So this is a screwdriver tip, this is a bottle opener, and it's also a can opener. Both combined features, and it's also a pry bar, right? So that's two, right? We just talked about 1 and 2. Okay. The third tool is basically right here, and it is a saw. Third tool is a saw. And that's it. There's nothing else. That's all you're going to get. Big saw, a saw, and a big knife. And in my opinion, that's all you really need. You don't really need all the other stuff. And they discontinued this model, and, I think this is so minimalist as it gets. And if you ever watch a lot of outdoorsy videos, and I have recently, what are the two most important tools I use a lot? A saw and a big knife, right? So that's all you need. And I just think it's a really useful tool because that's it. It's 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So this is the Victorinox Walker. There is one place that actually still is selling these, and the place is called Country Knives. And that's where I got it from recently. And I think it's worth a shot. The one caveat is this. Because it's discontinued, they've cranked up the price. So it's $35, and then you got to pay for shipping. So it comes to about $45. And so when you really think about it, it depends on what kind of person you are. If you want more stuff for cheaper, then go for the Victorinox Huntsman. But if you want less stuff and exactly what you want, and none of the fluff and none of the weight, and you're willing to pay $45 for it, and also it's a discontinued model. The way I look at it is you can always get this, but you can't always get this. So that's all I got to say. All right, you guys have a great one. All right, bye.